Hello, welcome to another Tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I am bringing you today is called, what is it called? Twilight Creek. It's a 6x8. I painted most of it in July. I finished it up in August and took the photo 2 months later. It's just kind of been sitting there waiting for me to put this together. So hope you like it. It's a bit different for me, actually. I went for this sort of actually I should bring up the image somewhere. I went for this kind of different color scheme. You would have seen it in the you will see it in the little title thing I'll make, but it's kind of a yellow played off a teal, and then kind of blues, and so it's like three color and black, of course, let's not forget. And it was based on a reference photo that I took maybe almost 10 years ago, and I had just processed the photo as a photo, thinking, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to make a painting out of this." But like so many things, that can change. It did change. I got a decent painting out of it. It's like a really, for me, very different painting, and I think one of these ones where I just kind of quickly put it together and didn't worry overly much about it. I have to say I'm actually quite happy with the result. I do think it's a bit different for me, but certainly be happy to sell it, or in fact I'll make sure pop in that store. I've been a bit negligent there, but I was looking, since I got back from vacation, looking at the stuff on my little drawing table, and noticing there's quite a few that I'd done like live versions of that I need to finish. One is a small in-nest study. The other is a 5x10, a horizontal, and that may be it. There was also a figurative thing I set up. I did do a little figurative thing last week, and it came out okay. Funny enough, that stuff tends to bother my wrist a bit, so I don't know how into that I'm going to be getting. I have so many ideas for things I'd like to do. I mean, I have a reference folder that's got 300 to 400 images in it that I think would make amazing paintings, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I hope I live a long time, and I hope my wrist kind of cooperates. But I did a small one. I kept it very loose. My whole thing was to just I tried a different approach, and I won't bore you much with that, because I know you're looking at this painting and wondering how I did this. But if you've been with me for a while, you can see I've just basically done my drawing with black paint on a board that's been prepared with like a burnt umber tone. And yeah, I have my colors pre-mixed for the most part, at least the broad strokes. And I just said about painting it, so I'll be sure and touch base with you. But one of the reasons I like kind of doing this sort of video is so that I can kind of ramble about my week and philosophy and other kind of more abstract things. And so if you're really like interested in like hands-on how the paintings are occurring kind of stuff, definitely check out my live videos. I guess that's what I'm going to say about that. Yeah, because used to be this was the only format that I would do, and so people's complaints about not knowing what colors are being used or seeing the brush work properly or any of that, they were somewhat justified. But now I'm going to ramble. And again, if you just want to watch the painting occurring in a kind of a nice sped up mode, put some rockin' tunes on. Just turn me down. Yeah. Anyway, one of the other things I was thinking about today, because I was finally going through reference photos from the trip I just took, and okay, I will open that folder. I'll keep talking as I do it. Hopefully I can do two things at once. No, I can't. Not really. my photos, November 2019. Let's see how many pictures are in there. Oops, I should have got my first option. I was going to hit properties. Yeah. Well, okay, 5,000 photos I took. I have just gone through all of those. Now, some of those are family shots. Maybe, 200 or 300 of those, if that. I have distilled that down to 140 photos that I thought might make good references for paintings, and that is, of those, I feel is 30 that are very strong. One of the strongest, I did a live session last week. Hopefully you caught that, because I'm real pleased with the way that painting's come together. So the real absolute cream would have been maybe 30 or 40 shots. I have 146 that I believe could be used to make paintings. That's a year's worth of paintings if that's all I did. And then, in that 5,000 that, of the 4,000 whatever that didn't get selected, I could go through with another pass and probably glean other things that could be cropped into paintings, or with a different mindset or attitude I could maybe see my way into making a painting of. And I wanted to talk about this with you because hopefully if you're using photo reference, you are taking your own photos. You have to be very careful about just grabbing random things off the internet. It might be fine if you never have any success, but you're really kind of courting disaster. And if you are hoping to have some success, you're really sending the wrong message to the universe, because the message you're sending is like, I hope I have success, but I'm starting off by basically grabbing someone else's creative output and making a painting out of it. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that if it's a study, or if there's attribution. I mean, you could make your own study after my painting here. I don't mind. I would fully expect you to give me attribution, though. Say, painting done by you after painting by me. Then it's all good. And even that's a bit funny because I'm a modern artist, So if you're doing it to study or whatever, that's all good. But it all bets are off, though. If you're making studies after the masters, they're all long dead. Their work's all public domain, and have at it. But you should always give them attribution as well. Anyway, getting back to my initial point, so I recommend, finding, if you are using photographic reference, finding things that either in your own area that you feel would make good paintings, or when you travel, do what I did, take a bunch of photos. And my rationale when I'm taking the photos is, I think, well, even then I'm being quite discerning. I could have taken 50,000 photos, Of those 5,000 photos I took, I was being discerning the whole time. I was doing my best to composite and make a good composition from the various different focal lengths that were available to me with my zoom lens, and the landscape that was in front of me, and the fact that I could move my own body higher or lower, and move around. And that was reminding me of a quote that I heard on my vacation by Ansel Adams, who said, doing good art photography, landscape photography, is all about standing in the right spot. And that would definitely apply to landscape painting. So in this more rambling philosophical video, I wanted to just throw that out there for, because it's a cool quote. Anyway, let's tune back into the painting here. So you can see actually the yellow in the final painting is a lot more intense than the yellow you're looking at now, and that would be the result of glazing. So the glazing is there to really reinforce and back up that yellow, and super powerful, and in my mind from the beginning, really, so just thought I'd drop in with that. So what now, in the past I've had these trips, and I've taken 10,000 photos, whatever, and I've done the same process. I've culled it down to 150, but I wouldn't maybe have as much success as I think I'm going to have now, because what is the difference? The difference now is, now whenever I'm looking at a photo, I'm looking at it very critically, and the idea is not, the idea is what do I need to take away from this photo to make a good painting, much more so than what can I add to it, like, can I add a road or add a river? Heck, if it was, really on the ball, I'd add a farm or a little kid with a dog walking down the road. Or, we did find some scenes in England where I had the famous red telephone booths. I think if I can find one of those, and I might paint that in. That might be awesome one day. Is that a red phone booth? Yeah, that is. Anyway, so yeah, I want to just lay that on you, and I've talked about reference. I think reference is so important, because how you start is really the most important part of any painting. And as I kind of touched on in that live video, it's like you need to support yourself, like with having positive patterns in your painting practice. Like, I just recently, actually, thanks to those of you have been donating and helping me, I've been able to purchase a new desk for my studio, which is great, because that old cheap one, it wasn't even old, it was new and cheap, but it moved. Every time I moved my arm, the whole thing rocked, and very distracting, not just to me, but I imagine to anyone trying to watch the video as well. But that's just awesome. I really appreciate the help and support. And if you do send me a donation or something, let me know if you if you want to keep it private. Otherwise, man, I'd like to shout your name to the rooftops, because I just think that's awesome. And I have to be honest, I do the same thing with a lot of it is with my music side, but there's people I've sent money and supported, that I felt I've got great education off of. They give me great insights, and at the end of the day, if you leave my channel with a few valuable insights that help what you're doing, or if you just find my talk entertaining and watching paintings happen entertaining. I know a heck of a lot of people that watch the Bob Ross paintings, and they don't paint, they just find it relaxing, and it is relaxing, and that's one of the reasons I try and keep the tone of these relaxing stuff too. You can always, I have actually heard that people put my videos on to fall asleep, which is highly amusing to me. But yeah, I'm actually a very animated person, but I keep a certain calm, demeanor going with these types of videos, and even in the live ones, it's all about painting and stuff. But anyway, reference super key. Take a lot of it. You got to, and that's why I'm always saying the other. It's just to be that broken record. You have to do a lot of paintings too, because that's the only way you're ever going to know what works and what doesn't. It's you can't. It doesn't matter what anyone says to you about what might work or what might not. And it's not that there are some basic rules that'll help you, but mostly what I'm talking about right now, by the way, is composition. Just so you know, I'll give it a name. This is the big challenging part of painting, if you ask me. There's so many ways to fail and to do poor paintings, but if your basic structure of your painting isn't sound, the basic composition is not sound, it doesn't matter how great your colors are, it doesn't matter how virtuosic, how much of a virtuoso you are with your brushwork. It doesn't matter if your values are great, because the underlying structure is not in harmony. It's not working, and it's quite easy to do bad compositions, especially if you're basing your compositions on photographs, because there's so many things that are in the photo that we would tune out visually, and when we're looking at it in nature and saying, oh, my goodness, that's beautiful, we're tuning out a ton of things that aren't adding to the harmonious vision that we're apprehending in our minds. Anyway, I can see we're getting kind of close to the end there. I rambled for about 15 minutes, and I Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back real soon with another video, and got some good live stuff coming up with on my new desk and my new setup. So stay tuned to the channel. Those of you that are new subscribers, welcome aboard. Thank you so much. Those of you that help support me by buying paintings or donating, you guys are heroes, man. You're going to heaven as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, like I said, back real soon with another video. Meanwhile, please take good care and stay out of trouble.